Today, thank you guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Elijah of Watch Along with EE, and I will take you through withholding tax. Withholding tax is provided for in the Income Tax Act of Uganda. Has that tax which is withheld at source by a withholding agent from a payment to a person. And what are the categories of withholding tax? One is employment income. So all of us are charged pay as you earn for those people whose employers are registered for pay as you earn. So that's a withholding tax on your employment income. And then two, withholding tax on professional fees. A person who pays professional management charge to a resident professional is supposed to withhold tax at a rate of 6% of the gross amount of the payment. And that is not applicable to professionals who the commissioner is satisfied that they have been compliant with the provisions of the Income Tax Act, meaning they are exempt from withholding tax. And then withholding tax on payments to non-resident entertainers or sports persons. Withholding tax is charged at a rate of 15% of the gross amount of payment to non-resident entertainers or sports persons. So guys, mark the rates I am mentioning because that's very important if you fall in one of the categories and someone is withholding tax from you so that they don't cheat you. And then so if a non-resident sports person is an artist, anyone, a player who comes to Uganda purposely to perform and leave the country, they are charged 15%, and the tax is supposed to be paid and withheld by the promoter. If you promote an artist, like for example Diamond Platnumz came recently, supposed to withhold tax from them before and pay to you before he leaves the country. And then there is withholding tax on payments of interest. A resident person who pays interest to another resident person supposed to withhold tax at a rate of 15% of the gross amount of the payment. And that interest is not applicable to interest paid by a natural person, interest paid by a financial institution, and others. And then withholding tax on payment to non-resident professionals or contractors. Non-resident professionals, mark the word non-resident. There are people who are not under the tax law yet residents of Uganda, so they are charged the rate, always a higher rate of 15% of the gross amount of the payment. So any person who is in Uganda under Ugandan source service contract, and a Ugandan source service contract is defined as one where the person is in Uganda solely for the purpose and is deriving income from sources in Uganda. So that's a Ugandan source service contract. So they are charged the tax of 15% if they are non-resident professionals or contractors. And then withholding tax on payment of goods and services. So if you supply goods and services worth 1 million or more Uganda shillings, you are charged withholding tax at a rate of 6%. So if I supply, for example, stationery to MTN, and MTN is a withholding tax agent, they withhold tax at a rate of 6% of the gross amount of my payment. So 1 million, I would be paid 940,000 because 60,000 shillings is withholding tax. And then there is withholding tax on payment of dividends. So a non-resident company, a resident company which pays dividends to a resident shareholder is supposed to withhold tax at a rate of 15% of the gross amount of the dividend paid, and it's 10%. The rate is 10% for companies listed on the stock exchange. This is to encourage shareholders to invest more money in the stock exchange. And still dividend is exempt from withholding tax if the shareholder is exempt from withholding tax. And then withholding tax on payment of imports. So a person who imports goods into Uganda is charged withholding tax at a rate of 6% of the customs value. And this is not applicable to importers or suppliers who are exempt from withholding tax. So if you import anything, clothes, anything into Uganda, you're charged the withholding tax of 6%, except of course those people who are exempt from tax and those goods which are exempt from taxes. And then withholding tax on payment of commission to insurance agents. Insurance agents, for example, if Sanlam pays another insurance agent, is someone who connects the insurance company with with the insured. The customers of the insurance company are called the insured. So if that middleman, the insurance agent, is paid the commission, the insurance company is supposed to withhold tax at a rate of 10% of the gross amount of the commission paid. Then there is withholding tax on commission paid to mobile money distribution and airtime distribution. So a telecom service provider like MTN, Airtel, and so forth are supposed to withhold tax at a rate of 10% of the gross amount of the payment to those people who distribute mobile money services. You know, they are paid commission every month, and airtime distributing tax agent is supposed to pay to URA tax by the 15th of the following month. If tax was withheld in July, that tax should be paid by the 15th of August, for example. And a person who withhold tax from non-resident entertainers or sports persons, those people who are leaving the country the next day, for example, you're supposed to withhold tax and pay before the person leaves the country. And then you're supposed to maintain records for inspection by URA for a period of 5 years. So after 5 years, you may not be asked for those records to be inspected by URA, but within 5 years, you are required to keep records for inspection. And then withholding tax is a payment of income tax liability at the end of the year. What does this mean? If you pay withholding tax today, you are going to be deducting it from your income tax liability at the end of the year. So if your income tax liability, remember income tax liability is 30% normally for corporate entities. So if you charge the tax, you first deduct withholding tax and then you pay the balance to URA at the end of the year. That's the income tax act. So other deductions allowed under the income tax act for income to arrive at chargeable the tax liability at the end of the year is provisional tax, withholding tax, and of course foreign tax credit. You incur tax abroad before you earn that money here in Uganda. And then there is a failure to account for withholding tax. If you fail to pay withholding tax by the 15th of the following month, you are charged URA taxes. URA is entitled to recover that tax from you as though you were the one supposed to pay the tax, and not the tax as though you were the person who was supposed to pay the tax, and you're entitled to recover the tax from the payee later for purposes of reconciliation. And that's if you forgot to withhold the tax earlier on. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for paying attention to this video. Subscribe to my channel, like it. This is Watch Along with EE. Thank you.